Hello, everyone. Hola. We are Team 6. The title of our project is Building the Foundations for Nacientes Palmichal. Quick introduction. My name is Maria. I am in the School for Environment and Sustainability. We also have Shannon, who is in the law school and getting a master's in public health. Javi, who is in the Ford School and also the law school. Peter, who's also in the School for Environment and Sustainability, as well as the School of Education, and Simona, who is in the medical school. So really quick, as sort of an introduction about our partner, we partnered with Adesaru, stands for the Association for the Sustainable Development of Rural San Jose. Adesaru is located in Palmichal, which is a rural coffee-growing community of about 5,000 people located nearby San Jose around the rivers Rio Tabarcia and Rio Negro. Adesaru is engaged in environmental education and providing rural experiences. The current focus of Adesaru is in sustainable development of Nacientes Palmichal, which is 42 hectares located within the Cerros de Escazú protected zone. It's a very biodiverse region with important hydrological features and is known as the lungs of the greater metropolitan area of San Jose because of its decarbonization effect. The goal of the park is to provide a location for visitors to connect with nature, to recreate, and for environmental education as well. With our partnership with Adesaru and Nacientes Palmichal, which also has an eco-lodge, we began to meet with various local stakeholders, including entrepreneurs, artists, and farmers, to develop a sustainable business model to support local businesses and enable Nacientes Palmichal to be a local, national, and even international model in sustainable rural ecotourism.
Thank you, Maria. So based on our meetings with the community and the stakeholders, we identified that their main need for the foreseeable future is sustained income. We decided to focus our recommendations of the project in three main pillars around sustained income. Those are funding from private and public sources, as well as marketing efforts centered on experiences and expanded offerings, as well as more involvement from community members, especially from entrepreneurs, and increased employment opportunities from members of the local community. From there, we believe that this is going to result in an expanded network that connects the organization, which is our stakeholder, as well as the community members, and expanded access to visitors both locally and internationally.
Thank you, Javi. So Javi spoke a little bit about some of the needs that we identified through these meetings with community members and our client in Nacientes Palmichal. It's important to emphasize that we also identified various key resources that the community already has or has access to that it can leverage and deploy in order to promote the success of the project and of the park. And so we organized the resources into what's known as an offering map. And we have the materials that the community already has access to, some of the targeted clientele, sustained customers, and then sort of revenue streams for sustained funding and sustained income. By far, the greatest trove of resources that the community has, or that the Palmichal and Nacientes has access to, is the local community. So Maria spoke a little bit about some of the meetings that we held with our clients and with community members. In total, we met with nearly 30 local entrepreneurs, some well-established business leaders in the community, but also some first-time entrepreneurs. And the theme of these meetings was just enthusiasm and excitement to partner with Nacientes, and a desire to work together to create a sort of community brand, or made in Palmichal, or hecho en Palmichal, and to create a cooperative, right? So to lay the foundation for a community cooperative that really emphasizes sort of mutual benefit and collaboration.
Thanks, Shannon. So as part of these meetings that we had with these community business leaders and community leaders in general, and this discussion of this brand, Nacientes Palmichal, one of our recommendations was to move towards something called an experience model. And so through this, we identified 3 different types of visitor profiles that could come to this community of Palmichal and fully take advantage of not only what Nacientes Palmichal had to offer, but also what these different community business leaders had to offer. So through that, we identified 3 visitor profiles. One would be directed towards folks that were interested in learning more about food and agriculture. One was targeted towards people who would be interested in learning more about the cultural experiences that the area had to offer, and the other one was targeted towards folks that would be interested in the nature and adventures that this area has to offer. And through this, we created 3 different brochures that we gave to the client to be able to give out to different visitors to the area that listed all the different types of opportunities within this kind of profile available in the area. So for instance, for cultural experiences, you could go and taste different traditional foods, or there's an artisanal soap maker present in the community. And so creating these sort of visitor profiles, we figured would help both with the sustainability of tourism in the long term.
So to see how this connects together, I'm gonna explain a little drawing. Hopefully it makes sense. I am not as skilled at drawing as I am as explaining it. But essentially the model that we're recommending is called the visitor economy model. Let's think of a person that has about $300 to spend on a weekend in Costa Rica. This money is gonna be distributed in ground transportation to and from Palmichal. And once they're at Palmichal, they're gonna be staying at the community lodge, right? While staying at the community lodge, they'll participate in different activities like a hiking trail, like consuming all of their meals at the lodge and at the community. And they're also gonna participate in perhaps a guided tour of a coffee farm. All the money that they're spending in these different activities and staying at the lodge is gonna be directed to the association or the business cooperative, right? And these business members are gonna utilize this income to further invest in attracting other foodies, other adventurers, other cultural aficionados that will further expand the business opportunities for them, but also increase the economic development of the community and make it, full circle. It worked.
It's hard to follow that. So as we move forward, there are a few high-level summary items that we want to leave everyone with, particularly in light of a new Dow Fellows cohort coming in behind us. The first is shared vision, especially linking goals and frameworks between the community, our partners at Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. The second is to promote a circular economy within the region, not just in Palmichal, but hopefully more broadly across Costa Rica, ensuring that inputs and outputs are not only beneficial, but they're sustainable for the community. We most especially want to highlight the close-knit community. We want to provide space and outlets for collaboration among these business leaders and community leaders. And lastly, sustainable development it's a really big topic. There's a lot that goes into sustainable development, but we want to advance the mission of Adesaru. We want to promote economic growth and the involvement of key partners both nationally and internationally. As we finish up, we have several people that we want to be very explicit in thanking. The first is Don Hernan and Mauro and Rebecca at Nacientes Palmichal. We want to especially recognize Mauro, who was able to take time away from his studies to be with us today. Thank you, Mauro. We also want to thank our UM advisor, Dr. Jose Alfaro, our partner at Michigan State University, Vincent Delgado, and Margaret and Elizabeth with the Dow Foundation, the Dow Fellows Program, for their support throughout this process. And lastly, we want to explicitly recognize all of our community partners that we worked with. Their voices are going to be the most essential and the most important going forward, especially as Nacientes tries to move away from the COVID pandemic and hopefully into a bright future. So we look forward to your questions, and as a nod to our partners in Costa Rica, we will close by saying Pura Vida. Thank you.
Great work, team. The drawing was wonderful. So I think it was really, really smart to segment your target markets into those 3 different buckets. I'm curious what the team next year could do to measure the success or the impact of that specific target marketing.
We had a meeting actually with our community partners yesterday. We were talking about what could this look like in the future, especially for a new team. We think that the new team should focus on 2 areas. The first one is helping the community develop materials for grant applications. We think that sustained funding, there's a huge opportunity there to seek for additional funding and grants that can support their projects, but also they can partner with the newly formed entrepreneurial association to expand marketing efforts. And with that, they can focus on attracting this particular profiles or maybe identify new profiles that they think the community is able to host and offer. So in terms of measuring it, I think it's going to be very tied to the perception of the community as well, and they're going to be using this model to see if it works for them, but learn and modify it as it goes. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for several years, I think, of work with more fellows.
Congratulations. This is a super exciting project. I did have a question specifically relating to, y'all mentioned that Palmichal is this ecologically highly important area that acts as the lungs of the community. And I'm wondering if there's any tension between the ecological importance and this increased, increased focus on bringing visitors there, if there's any worry about pretty much too much of a good thing, right, about that emissions impact.
That's a really, really good question and something that we want to be very conscious about going forward. The organization came about as part of a previous UN grant for sustainable rural tourism, and Nacientes was one of the only organizations to make it through over the past decade, and then unfortunately COVID had them close. So I think what makes your question so important is to make sure that the community still not only has stake, but they're not like overrun at the same time. So really where we're hoping the next fellowship cohort can take over is finding a balance there so that the community is promoted, it's highlighted, they can attract attention and visitors, but not too much to the point where they're losing ground or their culture is at stake or that sort of thing. So it's really important. It's kind of a hard question and definitely something we want to be aware of going forward. Thanks.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. And congratulations again.
Thank you guys so much for presenting. I'm impressed of your work and the whole understanding you got in 1 year for community, the work we have done in the past 30 years or so. I'm just curious a little bit, this is more personal, I'm kind of more like your takeaways, how also this experience kind of make you like understand more like the community and members. Thank you.
We're so excited that you're here, just to say that again. I think for me personally, it's one of my biggest takeaways has just been the power of the community, how much, despite COVID and despite all the uncertainty, how much the community still is aspiring to get done and the excitement that they brought to every single meeting that we had with them. And so I think that it's a reminder too that when we do these academic programs, we come in with a lot of ideas. When we're working with communities, it's critical for those communities to be the ones who are guiding everything. And I think that sometimes that's what's forgotten. So for me, this was definitely an experience in remembering that the community is first and doing everything that I can to uplift the community and have that be a priority. So I think that it was just a great experience from that perspective. And of course, the community made us feel also welcome, so it was really fun to do that.
I think that's about it. If I can try and keep it a little on time. Thank you very much.